This is the Salvation Army Red Kettle. You're probably pretty familiar with it, especially during the holidays. You're also probably familiar with the Salvation Army thrift stores, where maybe you donate clothing or shop. But what you probably didn't know is that these two iconic images are somewhat unrelated. When you donate goods to the Salvation Army thrift or family stores, those items are sold and the proceeds are used to fund the adult rehabilitation centers, where those struggling with drug and alcohol addictions find help, hope, and a second chance at life. When you donate to the Red Kettles, these funds go to the local Salvation Army Corps, in this case, the Livingston County Social Services. And these funds stay in the county to support local services for families in need. Everything from clothing and food distribution to homeless assistance. In fact, the Salvation Army actually provides over 20 different services to those in need in the county. As you can imagine, managing all these programs requires significant physical space. Unfortunately, the small 70-year-old building that is currently being used to run all these programs is outdated and at absolute max capacity. This is where our pathway to dignity starts. This is Lieutenant Robert Leach. He and his wife, Lieutenant Stephanie, run the Livingston County Corps.
So you might notice when you meet a Salvation Army officer that we dress, well, all the same. We wear a uniform. The vision came back way back in the 1800s when William Booth and Catherine Booth founded the Salvation Army. Their idea was that we were God's army fighting, and that to be uniformed and to be united in that fight. And so we wear this uniform as an outward sign of people that are serving God and working for God. It's not about how we look up, but it's about the uniformity of what we do. Imagine with me for a second that you are coming to the Salvation Army because you have nowhere left to turn. Your utilities are about to be shut off. You may or may not be able to put food on the table for your family. You are doing everything you can, but medical bills come in, family members get sick, cars break down, and you turn up to the Salvation Army and you enter into a building where you're standing in a hallway waiting to be served. Barely enough room for a chair, and you're waiting to go into a small office that is just big enough to fit a desk, a staff member, and you in it. And that is where you are trying to find help in what is probably your darkest hour. When you hit rock bottom, this building does not provide the dignity that the people we serve deserve.
One of the key programs the Salvation Army offers is the Pathway of Hope. It's an initiative providing individualized services to families with children who desire to take action to break the cycle of crises and vulnerability that repeats generation after generation. It seeks to address the root causes of poverty in addition to the Salvation Army's history of compassionate serving. This is Heather. Heather grew up in a dysfunctional family, one wrought with abuse and strife that resulted in her leaving her home at age 13. At such a young age, without the guidance that most of us receive, she entered into another abusive relationship and became a single mom. Alone and without the support of family, she never learned many of the life lessons needed for self-sufficiency. At a critical point in her life, the Salvation Army was there for her and her son Wyatt.
I would tell people I've always been the person that people go to. Everybody comes to me. Where do I go? Who do I call? I call Marlena at Salvation Army. So the Pathway for Hope, Marlena introduced me to it. After we left the abusive home, that's when Marlena said, okay, Heather, we need to get you guys back in your own place so you're not reliant upon anybody else, that you're not going to be put into another situation that could be abusive. So we work with starting to set goals, just writing out tons and tons of goals, no matter how big, how small. So having somebody walk beside me and have somebody of faith walk beside me. So it's not just focusing on what I want, it's what God wants for us, and having somebody else that knows that's what our focus is. It's like having another family. There's really no shame and no embarrassment in all the things that you go through in life. I want to encourage others to be able to reach out for help, no matter what kind of help it is, even if you don't know if Salvation Army provides it, reach out. They're there because most people need something along the way in their life. I didn't know how much I touched people until I've been touched. So yeah, overwhelmingly blessed. our heart is full.
When Heather and scores of others walk into the current Salvation Army building in Howell, they are typically at a point where they feel there is nowhere else to turn. They feel hopeless and forgotten by society and are now being served out of a tiny, ill-equipped facility that simply perpetuates the feelings of being a second-class citizen. However, this campaign is not about a building. It is about valuing those we serve. It's about the expansion of invaluable programs leading to self-sufficiency, not a handout, but a hand up. It's about serving those in dire need, body, mind, and soul. It's about a pathway of hope. It is about a pathway to dignity. If you're familiar with what the Salvation Army does, it's hard not to get emotional. You can't put a price on human dignity. Funding for the Army may start with the Red Kettles, but in order to achieve our goal, we need your support. We've already served so many in such a limited space, but we want to do more. We want to be better. Join us in support of the Salvation Army of Livingston County. Join us in providing a pathway to dignity.
You'll get your chance.